Hey everybody, this is Cannaday, and I used to play Ashes back in the day, but haven't played it in quite a while, mostly due to the fact that I haven't had many opponents to play with. Well, this new expansion that I'm reviewing today, the Ashes Red Rains, Corpse of Viros, which I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but this basically adds solo and cooperative play to the game. Will this help me get Ashes back to table? Let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at the Ashes Red Rains expansion here. Of course, the main part of this game is the fact that you're going to be fighting against the Chimera, making the game be able to be played solo or two-player cooperative. So you can basically play with your Ashes deck now against an opponent here that's kind of like AI-driven. I'll kind of show a little bit of how you can do that. I'm not going to explain all of how Ashes works. I think we have a review up on the channel that kind of explains Ashes, and you can check back on that. But this allows you to play your Ashes decks against this basically opponent, this villain that you're facing off against. So basically the idea here is to win the game, you have to knock them down out of their hit points. There are all sorts of different versions of the bad guy you can face off against. I'm going to show you here with the standard, you would have to do 30, but you could also increase the difficulty where if you're doing one player, it's going to have more bad guys coming out. And then if you're doing solo, it ups his hit points as well. There's all sorts of different modes. You can play it at higher difficulties if you want to. I played mostly against the standard here because I am not as good at Ashes as some people might be, but it's still a lot of fun to play against it at that difficulty as well. Also, you're going to choose one of the two different aspects. Basically, these are the bad guy cards, the different attacks that the Chimera is going to be doing, the different aspect cards that are going to be coming out and attacking you as the game goes along. There are rules as well to kind of mix this up. You have the Fury, and then you also have Shadow. Fury is going to be more aggressive, and Shadow feels like more tricky and things like that. But you're going to shuffle that up, and then you will place out the battlefield, or the threat here for the Chimera, which means that he will have certain starting aspects in play. So with the first one here, he would have one blood droplet. This is kind of like the difficulty of the bad guy. A 2 blood droplet, a 2 blood droplet, and a 2. So this is also the amount of damage that if you defeat these, they will go out into thing. And depending on the number of players, you'll start with this fatigued card on different sides. If it's 2 players, you'll go through the deck twice. If it's 1 player, you'll go through the deck once. And then if you're able to get his deck all the way out, you will kind of start doing damage to the Chimera as it draws more cards and things like that. But the main thing here is each turn, you're going to take your turn as normal in Ashes, putting out your different units, putting out your different cards. And as you do your turn, when it's the Chimera's turn, they start with all of their little rage dice on the basic side here, and they're going to roll one of those with the 12-sided die here. And we will consult the behavior chart here. Most of the time, the behavior chart is going to be revealing different bad guys, and the Chimera is revealing different aspects that you're basically going to have to face off against. You can't really affect these aspects until they're revealed, so you would roll the die. If you get a Red Rains crystal thing here on a die, you would put it in the slot here. If he gets all 5 of these up, he will get one of these Red Rains crystals, which is bad for you because it's going to start powering him up. But if it lands on a basic, it would just kind of stay in his basic pool there as well. Here on the die, I got a 1. Normally, higher is probably worse and lower is better. But if I got a 1, I would just reveal the card here. So now there's a new aspect in play. This is the Fire Belly. As you notice here, it says Fire Wrath. When this unit is declared as an attacker, deal 1 damage to all units and Phoenixborns the opposing player controls. Wow, this guy's really mean. But he only has 1 attack and 2 life and 1 blood. And he's currently only revealed, so if I could take this out before he's able to attack me, I'll be able to kind of prevent that. And if you defeat him, the 1 blood here means when he takes damage, it will do damage to the Chimera himself. If I get up to 30 damage, I will win the game. And if my Phoenixborn is defeated, then I would lose. So basically I'm trying to take this guy out before he attacks me, but he won't attack me yet. So, and normally what will happen is each turn you'll roll the dice and reveal each of these. And once they're all revealed, then from left to right, they will each attack you. And basically he'll take turns. And each time when you do that, you'll roll the die and do it. There's some tricky things here though, because the behavior here, if you get a 3 through 4, he will attack you if able, but he does not actually reveal. So if next turn I rolled and I got a 3 or 4, this guy would attack me, and then there wouldn't be a new card revealed. There's also one here where he can actually like attack you and reveal and attack with the, like 5 and 6, he would actually reveal and then attack with that specific character as well. There's all these different things that can happen with these different aspects coming out, and kind of like you're not always sure exactly in which order they're going to be revealing and which order they're going to be attacking, and you're kind of like trying to figure out how to take those guys down. If you do have things here equal to the ultimate ability, that is going to trigger the ultimate spell here, which is going to deal 1 damage to each of your units and 1 damage to your Phoenixborn. And it's also going to basically level him up, making him go to level 2 behavior and level 2 ultimate. And then if that happens, and then all these would go away. If he gets to the next level, he's going to do 2 damage to everybody. And of course, the behaviors here are going to be slightly meaner towards you. And then you go to phase 3, making him even stronger. And then if that happens, he's just going to continue to do damage to you and kind of wreck you each time he hits that ultimate. And you're going to be in a ton of trouble. Also, you can kind of like slow him down if you're able to exhaust this as a ready spell. Then you're going to basically be making him need more of the red rains tokens for him to face his ultimate. But each time you roll, you're going to be rolling, and the more that these get slotted in, he's going to get more and more of those red rains tokens. So basically, you're trying to do your turns quickly before all of these fill up. There's also a lot of cards that can flip and add red rains tokens depending on kind of what they do. And there can be also, oh wow, all the iron scales came out. But yeah, there's a ton of mean things that could happen. You can also attack the Chimera directly, like these guys would defend for him. There's also, if you are rolling and people have Defender and things like that, you would roll a die to see if it happens. If it's 10, 11, or 12, they would defend for your opponent, or defend for that aspect, or defend for the guy there and stuff like that. So there's rules for figuring out how defenses and attacks work and stuff like that as well. And basically, you're just trying to figure out how to take these guys out. It's kind of cool because each time you hit them and knock them down, you're going to be still doing damage to the Chimera himself with the blood number there. So you're just trying to get to that 30 to knock him down the whole time, playing out all of your cool Phoenixborn stuff and doing stuff. This does come with the deck of cards here. That's a standard deck, or a standalone deck that you can play with some extra Phoenixborn. So we'll look at that now. So there is a bunch of cards that come in a standalone deck with this as well. It comes with 4 new Phoenixborn, or 4 remade Phoenixborn, with different specialty cards for those Phoenixborn as well that you can play with. And I'll just kind of go through some of those. Jessa here has where Screams of the Departed, once per turn, you can destroy. You may spend a basic here to deal 1 damage to target Phoenixborn when one of your units is destroyed. And then she has Playtime when this unit is discarded. As an attacker, blocker, or guard, deal 1 damage to your Phoenixborn. When this unit is destroyed, place Blood Puppet Conjuration on the Conjuration pile for the spell owner in your battlefield. There's all sorts of different things that you can have here. You have Noah here. He does basically, as a basic die here, choose a target opponent and place 1 exhaustion token on an unexhausted spell that they control. This would be really good against the Chimera to be able to exhaust his ultimate, making it harder for him to be able to trigger that. And then he has his Shadow Blade, which costs a basic here. You can play this spell after a player declares attacker. Draw 2 cards, deal 1 damage to the target unit an opponent controls, deal 1 damage to another target unit an opponent controls. This one's really cool if you want that card draw and being able to deal some extra damage when they attack you. Then we have Brennan here. He's got the Spirit Burn. You can destroy a unit you control and deal 2 damage to a target Phoenixborn. A lot of these combo really good with the sacrificial deck that you have here, because a lot of that stuff has to do with destroying your own units a bit. This is a basic here, Change of Heart. The spell can only be attached to an unexhausted Phoenixborn you control. Then you can do a minor action to choose an ally you control and place it in your hand, deal 1 damage to target unit and opponent controls. Basically getting your allies back in your hand, being able to spam their like enter the battlefield effects and stuff like that. Cole here, he has Slash. You can basically discard a card from your hand, choose a player, deal 1 damage to a target unit they control, or deal 1 damage to their target Phoenixborn if they have no units. So he can basically deal damage to people. And this Final Stand card, I like this one. If you have no cards in hand, deal 4 damage to a target unit and opponent controls. If there are 12 or more wound tokens on your Phoenixborn, deal 2 damage to a target Phoenixborn. So being able to just be like, boom, basic, deal 4 damage to a unit. Seems really cool to me. Summon Bone Crows. This is the ready spell that comes in the, this is all the stuff that you get for the standalone deck. So Summons Bone Crow is your spellboard conjuration here. This costs a sacrificial die, and if a unit was destroyed this turn, place a Bone Crow conjuration into your battlefield. So you get 3 of those, and then here's your conjuration for that. He has Feast 1. When this unit is declared as an attacker, add 1 to its attack value for the remainder of the turn if it is targeting a card with a wound token on it. It has 1 attack and 1 life, so you get a few of those guys. And then Chant of Transfusion. This is a ready spell that goes onto your spell board there as well. After an ally you control is destroyed, place 1 status token on this spell if it has no status tokens on it. So this deck's going to be all about your units dying and destroying your units and things like that. Then you can remove a status token from this spell to move 1 wound token from a target unit to another target unit. So you get a few of those. And then Serve the City. This is another ready spell for your spell board there. And it's just a main action. And you can deal 1 damage to an unexhausted unit you control. Add 1 to its attack value for the remainder of the turn. If that unit can attack, it may take an attack action declaring it as the only attacker. So you basically make that guy run out there for Gondor or whatever. It's not Lord of the Rings, but you get the idea. Old Salt. This is an ally battlefield here. He's an ally that goes into your battlefield. He has Wounded 1, so when he comes into play, he's going to come with a wound on it. But then he has Throw 1, so when he comes into play, you're going to deal 1 damage to another unit. And he has 2 attack, 3 life, and 1 recovery. So pretty cool little guy there. And then we have the Phoenix Attendant. This is another ally. And they have a thing here. If there are no wound tokens on this unit, move 1 wound token from your Phoenixborn to this unit. And it has a recovery of 2 and 4 life. So it can kind of take a little bit of damage there and kind of help you recover it off, kind of saving your Phoenixborn a bit there. And then Blood Puppeteer. This is switch. When this unit comes into play, place a Blood Puppet conjuration into your battlefield. And then Restitch. So stitch and then Restitch. When this unit is destroyed, you may discard a Blood Puppet you control to place a Blood Puppet conjuration into the target opponent's battlefield. So 1 attack, 1 life, and 1 recovery. And then we'll see what those Blood Puppets do. Basically, they are cursed. At the end of the round, place 1 wound token on your Phoenixborn. So if you're able to throw this at your opponent or at the Chimera, each turn they're going to be taking a damage. And then you can do self-inflict with them and deal 1 damage to this unit to kind of get rid of them so you're not continuing to take that damage. But these guys can kind of be like your little sacrifices because a whole bunch of stuff in this deck kind of wants your guys to get killed off to kind of do different tricks and things like that. Blood Brawl. This is an action spell. Resolve the following effect. Once for each wound token you control, you may deal 1 damage to a target unit your opponent controls. So having damage on your guys lets you do damage to other people. Summon a Calamity Golem. This one's pretty fun. It costs a ton though. It is an action spell. It costs 3 of your medium sacrifice die there. Destroy an ally you control and place the Calamity Golem conjuration into your battlefield. Place wound tokens on it equal to its printed recover value of the destroyed ally. So you can get rid of 1 of your guys and pop out 1 of these big guys, a Calamity Golem. And then he has the ability, basically here, when this unit is declared as the attacker, it deals damage equal to the target unit. When it's declared as the attacker, deal damage to the target unit an opponent controls equal to the number of wound tokens on this unit. So if this guy gets wounded, he can basically do a whole bunch of damage to a guy as he's attacking them. And he has 5 life, so he can end up taking quite a bit of damage as well. And he could start in play with damage depending on the guy that you end up crushing for the Calamity Golem there. And then we have Infuriate. This is an alteration spell. This unit now has the following abilities. Frenzy 2. When this unit is declared as the attacker, deal 2 damage to it. So he's going to get hurt as he attacks. But also add 1 to this unit's attack value for each wound token on this unit. So basically he's also able to have extra attack when he has damage on him. And then Channel Magic. You get to draw a card, remove 1 wound token from a target Phoenixborn, and raise 3 dice in your active pool 1 level. Basically making your dice better, and you get a whole bunch of those cards. Awesome, well that's what you get in your little standalone deck for Red Rains. Let's take a look at what I think about the game. All right, so Ashes is a game that I've always really enjoyed. I've always thought there was a game that kind of hurt my head with all the meaningful decisions in it. Kind of in a really good way though. It's like a really thinky game with lots of cool things going on as you play the game. The fact that this adds solo mode to it and cooperative mode is actually really exciting to me because I'm not up on Ashes as much as some people are, and if you play against a really good player, they're gonna kind of crush you in the game, or that's just like any competitive card game in general. The player who knows more is probably gonna do better in the game. But the fact that this adds solo play and cooperative play can kind of help me get in gameplay time and be able to test out decks or try out things, which is actually pretty exciting. One of my favorite games of all time, Marvel Champions, is a game that I played solo and two-player cooperative a ton of times. And the fact that Ashes adds that style play to this game with huge meaningful decisions and lots of cool card and amazing artwork is actually a slam dunk for me. I really enjoyed the way that all this comes together, and it's very interesting decisions as the different aspects are just going to keep coming out at you, and the Chimera just always has, it's not like it has tricks up its sleeve, but you're never really quite sure exactly how things are going to play out. It doesn't feel super, there's a lot of interesting things that happen. It doesn't feel deterministic at all. It's kind of a little bit random here and there, but you have to roll with those punches of the randomness. I really enjoy the fact that those aspects are slowly flipping over. They don't always even flip over. Sometimes the ones that are already out there can attack you, or sometimes they can flip over and then immediately attack you, and you're never quite sure. And then you see those red rain tokens coming on the thing, and you know that it's about to ultimate and hit all of your stuff. And just the planning and decisions, it always kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit, which I found actually quite exciting for this game. It's always interesting trying to figure out if you could hold out long enough to where the Chimera is passing, because once all of his cards have gone and then he's activating, then you can kind of do a little bit more, but you have to set up your board so that he's not hitting you so hard before that happens. I've mostly only played on the easiest mode for this, just because I'm not the most strong Ashes player, just because I haven't played the game in quite a while, but I did find it enjoyable just being a novice in the game. I would say it is kind of interesting. They give you almost everything to play the game in just this box with the solo thing there, except for the dice. So you have a ton of tokens as well, which I didn't punch out because I have the tokens in the base set. It's just interesting that it almost is like a standalone thing if you had just the dice. So I don't know if they sell the dice by themselves or anything like that, but you could grab almost just this. But grabbing this and a core set gives you a ton of replayability with the character side. One thing that I would find interesting is I know they're going to be coming out with more of this stuff. I would love to see more solo and cooperative play for Ashes, because I think that's kind of my favorite way to play this game. For me, this is going to get an 8.5. I think this is excellent. This is a blast. This is my style of game. Like I said, it reminds me of Marvel Champions, which is my favorite game. I love the decisions in this game and the interesting things to go on. I had gotten rid of my Ashes stuff just because I had no one to play with, and now I want to get everything again. So good on you, Plaid Hat, for this. If you're interested in Ashes, if you played it a long time ago and weren't able to get to the table, definitely check this out. This is great for solo play and a lot of fun. That is Ashes Red Rains.